Guys, good evening, all of you. And I think you may be quite busy in giving a final touch to your preparation for the battle you are going to have with the UPSC on the 4th October. So, this is an introductory lecture, and the purpose is to clarify the whole spectrum and the dynamism of the whole modern history. And here, the main problem happens because we are unable to trace the real meaning of the colonialism of this 200 years of British Indian history. So here, first try to focus on why the companies have came to India and how they try to monopolize India's trade and commerce. That is, instead of focusing on first you should in history, if you want to make a command over the areas, here you have to follow the approach of why, how, and what. And since majority of aspirants in the history especially, they are focusing on gathering of the factual information, that is what. Approach should be first focus on why and how, then you should focus on the factual informations, that is what. So guys, just try to understand this meaning of this 200 years of British colonialism. In the whole history syllabus of modern history, you can focus on the three phases, you can say. The whole 18th century, after death of Aurangzeb, we find India was having some type of political vacuum. So here try to focus how the Mughal Empire collapsed just after death of Aurangzeb in 1707. And gradually, India witnessed the birth of successor states, some rebellious states. Successor means the ambitious governors of Bengal, Hyderabad, Awadh declared some type of semi-autonomy and made their office hereditary. Like Nizam in Hyderabad, Bengal may we have Murshid Quli Khan, Awadh may we have Sadat Khan. Side by side we have some rebellious state like Jats of Bharatpur, Marathas. They can be called as a rebellious states. Here, while going in the 18th century, you can study 18th century in the two parts. The breakdown of the Mughal Empire and the birth of the states. And in the next half of the 18th century, this political vacuum after the collapse or disintegration of the Mughal Empire, India was waiting for a potential power who can fill the political vacuum. And I think you may be aware of this point. In this political vacuum of the mid of 18th century, three potential powers were evolving as a great force to fill the vacuum. One of them is English, second is French, and the third power was indigenous, that is Marathas. Guys, you may be surprised to know it is after death of Aurangzeb, Marathas' political ambitions started multiplying. It was Balaji Vishwanath who had first time taken part in Delhi politics by helping the Sayyid brothers. And first time he came to know that the Delhi Empire is witnessing a breakdown. And thereby Balaji Vishwanath had briefed this breakdown of Delhi politics to his successors. And that is why his successor Baji Rao I, who was Peshwa in 1720s and 40s, he was the first Peshwa who had evolved a policy of Hindu Padmashahi, that is, to fill this political vacuum of breakdown of Mughal Empire under the leadership of Marathas. So from Balaji Vishwanath, this message went to his successors, and Baji Rao I became more ambitious, and his goal was to make a all India Maratha state with the alliance of the Hindu kings like Jats of Bharatpur, Bundelas of Bundelkhand. It was his very wise policy. Unfortunately, his son Balaji Baji Rao committed political blunder. He deviated from his father's Baji Rao I policy, because Baji Rao wanted to make a all India federation under leadership of Marathas. But Balaji Baji Rao, who was a Peshwa from 1740 and 61, was highly autocratic. He wanted only the dominance of Marathas. And guys, you are well aware, India is such a large nation at a time. Autocracy cannot govern the whole Indian continent. So Balaji Baji Rao deviated from his father's policy of alliance with the Hindu states, and that is why his plan got backfired. I think you may be aware, at the third Panipat, he failed to get the support of any of the Hindu states, although he gave a message to Budelas, Rajput chiefs, Jats of Rajasthan, but there was no one to help the Marathas at Panipat. So guys, in the mid of 18th century, we find three powers were trying to fill the vacuum: English, the French, and the Marathas. And in this sequence, we have some series of battles. Although in history we have hundreds of battles. So don't focus on hundreds of battles. Focus only on those battles which had shaped the destiny of India. And here, in this mid of 18th century, when India was witnessing a vacuum, we find these five battles had shaped the history of India. The first, battle was Battle of Plassey, 1757. It laid the foundation of the English company in Bengal. Although the power was illegal in nature, but the outcome were very long lasting. The victory of Plassey exposed that India is not having any political unity. Guys, just imagine, how can English company is daring to throw the local Nawab? No doubt India was having great powers. Nizam was there, Marathas were there, Hyder Ali was there. But since the sense of political unity was missing, the victory of Plassey was a turning point. It exposed that India is not having any sense of political unity. Thereby, the English company's ambitions got multiplied. Hence, we can say, from here, the destiny of India is going to be shaped now. After this Plassey, just after 2 years, we have Battle of Bidera, 1759. Because once English company captured Bengal after Plassey, they regarded Bengal as their property. And in Bidera, they defeated the Dutch. Nextly, in 1760, a historic battle called as Vandi Wash was fought in Karnataka. Vandi Wash today is called as Vandavasi, nearby Chennai. And this battle was also historic because it had proved that who will not govern India. Because just we have discussed in the mid of 18th century, three potential powers, English, French and Marathas, were aspiring to fill the vacuum. So at least we can come to the conclusion that Vandiwash had at least proved that destiny of India will not go to the French. At least now the two powers were only as a main contestant, English and the Marathas. Unfortunately, just 1 year after Vandiwash, we have third Panipat. Unfortunately, Marathas got a serious defeat. It was a serious blow of Marathas' political ambitions to fill the political vacuum arising in North India. And guys, here in just after Panipat, third Panipat, we can say like this, we can conclude like this, that destiny of India was favoring, destiny of India was waiting for the English. Only a certificate was required. And finally, we can say Battle of Buxar on 22nd October 1764 gave the certificate to the English company that now this India belongs to you. And here you can compare these battles: Battle of Plassey, Battle of Vandiwash, and Battle of Buxar, like prelims, mains, and interview. The Plassey can be called as a prelims for the English company. It qualified the prelims. And guys, once you qualify the prelims, you become more determined towards the mains. At anyhow you want to crack the mains. Otherwise, the victory of the prelims is immaterial. So once English company qualified the prelims, that is Plassey, it become more determined towards Vandiwash. And guys, once you are more determined, you are bound to win. Vandiwash went in favor of the English. It means they qualified the mains now. And now they are waiting for the interview. Has the ambitions got more multiplied? And since in Buxar, the king of Hindustan, Shah Alam II, was there, Red Fort Delhi symbolizes the capital, headquarter. It can be called as the interview. And here, Shah Alam, along with the Nawab of Awadh and the ex-Nawab Mir Qasim, the trio got defeated. And now Shah Alam II is giving a certificate by Treaty of Allahabad that now this India belongs to you. So guys, here in the 18th century, don't try to waste your time in memorizing hundreds of battles, because U.P.S.C is focusing on the areas which are searching why, how. And now come to the next century, that is the phase of colonialism. So guys, 18th century is a period of turmoil. Here you can focus on these type of areas. Nextly, once Plassey is over, or you can say Buxar is over, now India has a unique history which is called a history of colonialism. And I think you may have gone through the book of Rajni Palm-Dutt, who had made a very fine analysis of the whole 200 years of economic exploitation under British India. This whole 200 years of British history, he had divided into three phases: mercantilist colonialism from 1757 to 1813. Second phase is industrial colonialism or industrial capitalism 1813 to 1858. And the last phase is financial colonialism, that is from 1858 to 1947. Guys, this is the pulse of modern history. This is the nerves of modern history. Because once you correlate the developments in this 200 years, once you correlate the developments going in these 200 years of British rule with respect to the phases of colonialism, I can assure you, even if you are missing any fact, by logic you can mark the correct answer. Because whatever policies in this 200 years, policy means whatever political administrative policies, whatever economic policies, whatever socio-cultural policies the British policy makers were drafting in India, they all got influenced by this nature of colonialism. Just I am giving some examples. The first phase is called as mercantilist colonialism. That is from 1757 to 1813. In this phase, the English company motive was to monopolize India's trade and commerce, India's textile handicraft was going to Britain by the English company. So guys, in this first phase, that is mercantilist colonialism, the motive was to just monopolize the India's trade and commerce and just carry the Indian goods to the Britain. In this phase, they don't want to take any liability to govern India. This was a passive phase. And here we find the reign of wealth started. So just see what changes are going in this first phase from 1757 to 1813. In this phase, if you go and see the political administrative segment, we don't find any sweeping changes. And you may surprise to know, even after victory of Buxar, the symbol of India's prestige, that is Red Fort Delhi, the King of Hindustan title, was preserved by them till the revolt of 57. It is really seems to be contradiction. Even after the victory at Buxar, Britishers have preserved the Red Fort Delhi, autonomy of Red Fort Delhi, and the office of King of Hindustan, क्योंकि ये भारत की आन और शान है. अभी भी देखें लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को आप देखते हैं प्रधानमंत्री की स्पीच लाल किले से ही होती है. The Britishers were well aware that these were having the emotional values. Muslims were governing in India from 1200 something. It means almost 500 years has been passed. Even after victory at Buxar, they had preserved these symbols of India's prestige. In this phase, they also followed the policy of ring fence. Means whatever you have captured in Bengal, just focus on it. Try to preserve Bengal. And they want to put some friendly states, they want to create some friendly states nearby the enemy states. In this phase, even they never attempted to change the language of India. The Persian language was continued. Even they also avoided any changes in the social and cultural perspective of India. They simply wanted to take the less liability. In this phase, they never attempted to make any fundamental changes, neither in language, neither socio-cultural reforms, neither expansions after Buxar is over. They avoided this. I think you are well aware, in Pitt's India Act 1784, when the governor of Chennai and governor of Bombay had dragged the English army against the Marathas and the Hyderali Tipu Sultan, Parliament took a serious note of it. They ordered the company's directors to stop this type of expansionist plan. So, guys, this is the first phase. Whatever developments are going here, they are guided by the policy of mercantilist colonialism, that is, only focus on trade and commerce, carry the Indian goods, monopolize it. Because before the English company captured power, it was draining its gold and silver in India. That is why the English company had won India. Sorry, please. And one thing is again interesting. English company came in 1608 and Battle of Plassey is going in 1757. It is almost 150 years. In 150 years, Britain had drained crores amount of gold and silver in India. And now they want to take a revenge of it. So this first phase is over. Now we can come to the second phase, which is called as industrial capitalism, or you can call it as industrial colonialism, from 1813 to 58. Again, guys, once you know the meaning of industrial colonialism, whatever changes India is witnessing in this phase, it is influenced by this objective. Industrial colonialism means now in Britain, industrial revolution was in a takeoff stage, and now they were well aware, now we should make India as a market. Then the first phase, Britain and Europe was a market for the Indian goods. But now, since industrial revolution was in a takeoff stage, now this policy got suddenly changed to industrial colonialism. Now India will become a market. And guys, from this period 1813 to 58, just make the three headings like political administrative development going in this phase. Second is economic changes going in this phase. Third, you can say socio-cultural changes going in this phase. Just I am giving you some examples. In the second phase, if you go and see the political changes, political administrative changes, here India witnessed fundamental changes in the political administrative sphere. For example, it was in this phase English company abandoned the policy of ring fence, and now they want to expand the empire. Here we find subsidiary alliance of Wellesley, doctrine of lapse of Dalhousie, side by side. In this phase, English company lost its monopoly of trade and commerce in India by the Charter 1813 and 1833. By 1813, it lost monopoly with India. In 1833, it lost monopoly with the China also. Why the changes are going on? Because now the motive was that English companies should focus on administration instead of focusing on trade and commerce. In the mercantilist phase, it was focusing on trade and commerce. The English company lost monopoly with India by Charter 13. By 33, it lost monopoly with China. Because now industrial colonialism has evolved in Britain. Now they wanted to enter deep in the Indian market. Now to make India as a consumer of the British goods. It is impossible unless you are governing India in a direct way. Hence the monopoly was abolished. It means now the parliament wanted that companies should focus on administrative front basically. And you can see the point. Whatever clauses are coming in Charter 1813, 1833, 1853, whatever provisions are coming, they are influenced by this objective to serve the needs of industrial colonialism. And since here they have to make India as a good market, we find The empire got expanded with a fast pace. Dalhousie is annexing 7 states under doctrine of lapse. Even the Punjab got annexed here in 1849. Even Burma got annexed. Lower Burma, Upper Burma. Dalhousie is annexing Lower Burma. And Dufferin is annexing the Upper Burma. It means now they wanted to expand the area because market. And if you see the changes going in the administrative field, in this phase, we find they are introducing the English language. Macaulay's Code is coming here. In 1835, Public Instruction Committee was appointed. Here they want to encroach over the Indian culture also. In this phase, we find some fundamental changes are being practiced. The English language replaced the Persian language. And now they are promoting the Western culture. Not only promoting, they are encroaching over the Indian culture. While in the first phase, I think you are well aware, in the first phase they were promoting the Orientalist approach. They were glamorizing Indian culture. You may be aware, in the first phase, a ascetic society was there, which was promoting the Indian culture. But in this phase, they are promoting the Anglicist culture. The English language got replaced, Persian got replaced by the English language. And finally, we find the birth of civil services also coming here in Charter 53. Because now they want to govern India in a direct way. They required a smart bureaucracy. The Charter 53, side by side, you may be aware, the Woods Dispatch is coming in 54. Because now they want a smart Indian class, higher education class. So guys, whatever changes are coming in this second phase, they are guided by the needs of industrial colonialism. Education reforms, political reforms, administrative reforms, all are going to serve the needs of the same. And guys, the last phase is financial capitalism. Just 1858 and onwards. Again, a question may arise, why financial capitalism is coming? Guys, while by 1857, Britain had accumulated a large capital. Secondly, at the same time, India witnessed a revolt after 100 years of English company rule. Nextly, they were also witnessing competition with the other European neighbors because Industrial Revolution took place birth in Britain. By 1830s, it spread to France, Belgium. So these all factors motivated the British capitalist to go for the third phase. That is called as financial capitalism. What do you mean by it? It means now the British capital will enter in the Indian market. Now they will invest in India. So from 1858 we find a new phase of colonialism, which is called as financial capitalism. And here Dalhousie is creating the background. In this phase, Dalhousie is getting the background of industrial capitalism. Whatever roads, railways, post, telegraph, all is coming in the period of Dalhousie. So don't try to cram in isolation. History, what happens, we simply focus on governor generals. We focus on wars and battles without knowing why the changes are going on. So since industrial colonialism was coming, and Dalhousie is creating a background for it. If British industries will come in India, they required a smart workforce. Hence, civil service is coming. 1853, civil service is coming. Wood Dispatch is coming in 54. Roads, railways, everything like this, Secondly, liberalism is also coming. That means, in this third phase, British capital is entering in the Indian market. Again, guys, here the point is that the history is guided by the needs of colonialism. It is not going to serve the interests of the India. Although some interests were served, it is a byproduct. In the third phase, India witnessed sweeping changes because revolt had happened. Politically, administratively, we find fundamental changes are coming on. And now they are focusing on decentralization. That is why you may be aware, in the post-revolt phase, politically administrative field may be fine. The concept of decentralization was adopted. Expansionist policy was abandoned. The Queen Victoria announced the same. And they wanted to make the Indian princes as the bodyguards. And now they served the role of the bodyguard till the independence of India. And we find series of Act, Indian Council Act 61, Indian Council Act 92, 1909. So in this last phase we find they try to get the goodwill of the Indians. But again here, in this third phase, whatever investment they had made in the consumer-based industries instead of heavy industries. And guys, here you may surprise to know, textile sector was the only sector where they avoided the initial investment. That is why the first textile industry, modern textile industry, the investment was made by a Parsi Indian capitalist. So guys, in this way you can just try to catch the points to understand the whole modern history. And nextly, after this colonialism, you can understand in this way. Nextly, focus on the topic called as Renaissance. Because Renaissance of 19th century, which was shaped by Ram Mohan, Dayanand, Vivekanand, every year U.P.S.C is asking around 2 and 3 questions from this segment. Renaissance had given the shape to the national identity. And I think if this Renaissance could be missing in the history of India, today this India may be not like today's which we are having. This Renaissance had given the concept of social political sense of unity. I think you may be aware. Even the innovative concept like Swaraj and Swadeshi were coined by the thinkers of Renaissance. The Swaraj word, was coined by Dayanand Saraswati in 1870s. Swadeshi was coined by Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Even the concept of national language was first given by Dayanand. So guys, just see in this way. To understand colonialism, then you should go for the topic like Renaissance. Renaissance is simply a reaction to the colonialism. Renaissance can be called as a topic, as a phase whose motive is, which is reactionary nature, which is reactionary, which is revivalist, which is reformative. It is having all the three characters. It is giving birth to the concept of Swaraj, concept of Swadeshi, concept of national language. And guys, these are the forces of nationalism. This Renaissance had shaped the background of Indian nationalism. And later, these Swaraj and Swadeshi coined by the Renaissance became the guiding mantra of the Indian nationalist movement from 1906. So, study Renaissance in a very conceptual way. Why Renaissance is coming? Because colonialism had break down your whole society, your polity, your economy. Everything has got breakdown. And Renaissance is promising you that you can get all the three back. Swaraj means you can get your polity. Swadeshi means you can revive your small scale industry. So on one side, colonialism is suppressing you, your society, your polity, your economy. And Renaissance is trying to reform it or revive it, you can say like this. And guys, this is a very conceptual point. Since you lost your polity, you lost your economy, And Renaissance is giving in a new way Swaraj and Swadeshi. And from 1906, this Swaraj and Swadeshi became the guiding mantra of national movement. Why these words were very high sounding? Because because you have lost the same. Thinkers are just like psychologists. Ram Mohan, Vivekanand, Dayanand, they are great thinkers. They are psychologists. They know what Indian society needs. In this British Indian history, in the first phase, we lost our polity, we lost our economy. You can substitute your polity. You lost your polity, you can get back Swaraj. You lost your economy, you can get Swadeshi. That is why these two mantras became so appealing. They were the magnetic forces. Even Gandhi carried the same. So guys, just try to have understanding of the topics in this way. History may I found that majority of students are having problem because they simply focus on governor generals, battles, and the personalities. But history is not simply memorizing of the facts. Guys, history is understanding of forces of changes and forces of continuity which together transform society. Okay guys, this was simply introductory lecture to make the meaning of modern history more clear. So again, the last point of discuss, the last conclusion is that history may, especially modern history, don't try to study the history in this way. What? Focus first on why, how, and then what should be the last phase of study. Okay, guys, wish you all the best. Tomorrow, I will try to cover the core topics of modern history. And then after completing the modern history, we will try to cover the core topics of art and culture. Okay, wish you all the best.